water it, it will start growing because there's seeds in it. It's really pretty, and you're going to get some seeds in straw anyway. But if you ask for a seedless or post-harvest straw, that's the best way to go. Or you can use other material like mulch from the Miramar landfill. They give it away. The Miramar landfill mulch and compost has a distinct odor to it, and if you do use that, I would recommend covering it with straw anyway, because your neighbors are going to hate you. That stinks. Anyway, so that is the best way to do the lasagna method. Yes?
Do you have a website that has some information?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But if you Google this, you'll find
Okay.
a ton of different recipes. In fact, Kara, you had a great book that, what was the book that you were?
I took my recipe, it's called the Bomb-Proof Chic Mulching out of Gaia's Garden. It's a permaculture book that has a great step-by-step everything you need to know about sheet mulch.
Yes?
On average, what's the time frame between the time you start sheet mulching and the time that you can be ready?
2 to 6 weeks. So you can actually, yes, and so what you do is you've got your lasagna there, your mulch, you just dig down into it and plant right in the soil.
Okay, so you don't need to wait for all that, like all the cardboard to decompose?
It decomposes so quickly, it'll amaze you. Like within a couple of days, I think, we were checking that one lot and it was just gone. Especially if you use newspaper.
And I think a lot of people that sheet mulch choose to do it in the winter time, so that by springtime when it's ready, it has composted a lot. But if you're like me who didn't find out about it until February and wanted to do it right away, you know, I have my tomatoes growing in it in 2 weeks and they're doing great, and squash and everything.
It's really beautiful. Yes.
When you use newspaper, I've heard some like conflicting things about whether it's okay to use colored paper, but it seems like most newspapers have color.
Supposedly, all inks used in our local printers are soy-based. I worked in the printing industry and I've seen how they make paper, and there has to be chemical residues in it. There just has to be. Cardboard that's not printed, if you're a real purist about it, you could definitely use uncoated, uncolored cardboard, and you shouldn't have ink issues. Sometimes materials can be difficult to find, so as far as newspapers and cardboards and stuff, used to be you could go anywhere and get cardboard. You can't anymore. Bicycle shops are a good resource. They have a lot of plain unprinted cardboard. The next method we'll talk about is for our Bermuda grass, and I don't know if you all had a chance to look at that, but Bermuda grass is one of those things that's similar to a cockroach. It's indestructible. So if you have Bermuda grass, I'm sorry, but you'll be picking it out of your garden for probably years. But that's okay. That's all right. It's kind of fun now. There are a couple of ways to get rid of Bermuda grass. There are herbicides that use plant hormones, glyphosate, to kill Bermuda grass. They're advertised to be safe for and near humans and animals. However, scientific studies have shown that these products do indeed cause cellular and hormonal damage, and that toxicity may be linked to the inactive ingredient rather than the active ingredient. So we don't use, in my company, we don't use it. We just don't. Plus we don't want to, I'm not into supporting that whole industry, but that's my personal thing. For this reason, the best way to get rid of Bermuda grass is to hand dig it. And Bermuda grass roots can go from 6 to 12 inches down. So the best way to dig it is to go through with a spade and just turn over a spade and have somebody come behind you and shake it out and throw it on a tarp or whatever. And it does need to go to the landfill. If you put it in your compost, unless you hot compost, it will come back. It will grow out of your compost, underneath your compost. So it's a real tenacious grass. Another thing, when you decide to do this, your Bermuda grass has to be growing, it has to be actively growing. So if you look at the bag that I put around, it's got real fleshy, full of water roots in it. If you take Bermuda grass out when it's dormant, it will break into a gazillion pieces and you'll never get it out. And for whatever you do, do not rototill it, because every one of those segments breaks up and starts a new grass plant. So, let's see. Then we have a little presentation that Kara put together. It's got some photographs of the processes we just talked about, and a couple of pictures of some gardens. So chic mulching, that's the first thing that we talked about. Benefits are, it's pretty darn easy. All you have to do is round up your resources and then just layer. Rototilling, rototilling used to be a big thing in farming and gardening, but now they're kind of coming around on that and thinking that rototilling is probably not the best thing for your soil, because your most productive and active soil level is right on top. So if you take a rototiller with a 6-inch tine and pull up 6 inches below, you're actually taking the great stuff, putting it down 6 inches, and now you got the stuff that's not so great. So that's another really good thing about this method. So this is a lawn that was just started. It was beautiful sod. I watched this lawn go in, and when they showed up with the truckload of sod, I was really disappointed, but that's what they wanted to sell the house. That's what it took to sell the house. It was brand new, beautiful green sod. And then Kara moved in and decided she wanted a garden. So that's a little apple tree right there that she put in. And this has been mowed. There are some amendments down on top of it. You can see a little bit of the amendments that were put into this grass. And a thin layer of chicken manure. And then this is the cardboard. It's overlapping and watered to keep it down. Even that looks more interesting than grass.
It's like an art project.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an art project for sure. So then there's more chicken manure down on top of that. And this is not, I think it's called True Green. It says it's composted. It's very hot chicken manure, and I wouldn't advise putting it on anything but something like this. So, and this is the straw. She put 8 to 10 inches of straw down, or other carbon material like a mulch. More compost, and this is compost from Miramar landfill, and it, as I said, does smell really bad, and it was still hot when we got it, so it's still going through its composting. So put the compost on, and again water it real good, and then one more layer of straw. And these are the tomato plants that you can see. They're growing right up in here. She dug a hole down in the straw and put the tomatoes in. That, by the way, is a chicken coop in Kara's front yard. It's called I know we're not talking about chickens here, but this is a chicken tractor. Those are handles, and you just pick it up and move it through the yard.
Wow.
And it has become the curiosity of the neighborhood, that's for sure. We call it chicken TV. These are some of the plants that are, this slide was just taken yesterday, so here it is, end of April, and she's got some decent sized tomatoes coming up through there. Again, all she did now was, this was lawn in February, took a spade or a hand shovel, dug down, and put the plant in, and that's what this is.
I thought chicken manure would burn the plants.
Chicken manure will burn. The easy green that I was telling you about, I believe it's called, as I mentioned, I wouldn't use that in any direct application other than something like this, because by the time these plants were planted, it had composted.
But I mean the live chickens though.
Oh, live chickens, absolutely, yeah.
They're on a piece, if you look, it's bare straw right
They're
now.
on
So
straw.
that piece of grass is composting still. So we haven't planted anything yet.
Chickens-
They will be relocated.
Chickens are another great way to take out lawn. Something like this, if you just move them, they'll scratch it all out. I don't know how they'll do on Bermuda grass, but they'll definitely take sod out for you and fertilize it.
If you have live chickens, when can you use the manure?
you have to compost it.
Okay.
So you put it into your compost